It's Golf Traveler with Denis Knight. Welcome to episode one of hopefully many episodes about golf. I want to start tonight by saying thank you. Thank you to all the people that have supported me along this little golf journey that I've been taking. Um, it's filled a void in my life that I needed, and I so appreciate it. Your encouragement and your positive attitude has really kept me going a lot of times and kept me feeling purposeful. I hope this podcast can do that also. And so, but I'm going to ask for some help because I want the podcast to reflect our shared interests. And so I know I'm learning this and I'm learning this software that I have. But I can see that live chat is an option. And so hopefully as we progress down this road, that we'll be able to interact a little bit more in real time. But until then, you're welcome to view my videos and hopefully leave comments um, about things that you see and things that you would like to see because I want to make it better. And the only way I can make it better is understand what you want to see. And so I need that information. So, because I want to make a connection. Now, I do want to let you know a little bit about my golf background, just to kind of fill you in. I'm no expert whatsoever. Um, I started playing in 2018 when I retired. Um, and then I was playing once a week, and COVID and everything didn't play a lot at all. And it really wasn't until life changes in 23. I needed to find something, and golf seemed to excite me at the time, so I started playing. And the more I played, the more I played. The more I played, the more I played. I got pretty religious about it. Um, and so I'm still kind of at that point. I don't know if I've gotten a lot better, but that's not always my objective. I've learned so much about just being with people and having fun than worrying about my golf score, which I used to worry about. So, but that's another story, right? But one of the things I did, my birthday in January of 2024, I presented myself with a challenge. I need a carrot. And so I decided I was going to play 66 different golf courses, okay, in 1 year. I didn't know if it was possible or not. Well, I tell you, there was times where I was playing different courses all over the place. And so, but it gave me the opportunity to see a lot of different golf courses. And I thought, wow, this is really nice, not playing the same course and never knowing really what's around the corner and things like that. It was really a different aspect to the game that I found intriguing and I really liked and still do. And so it's kind of funny. I did pretty well with the challenge till the end, but I had to be done by January 28th, and here in Missouri you never know, and we just happened to get a bunch of snow in early January, and I had one more day, and I had got all of my friends together. We were going to play, and it just kept getting pushed back and pushed back, and finally, one of the Branson courses, Ledgestone, opened up that on my birthday. So technically, I've got an extra day there. But on my 67th birthday, I played Ledgestone for my 66th course. And so I felt like I completed that challenge. And, if I felt like it, that's good enough, because I'm usually pretty hard on myself. But one of the things I started doing was making videos, kind of for myself, so that I would remember the courses. Um, once I played them, got home, kind of looked at them and whatnot. And again, I was just kind of shooting hole by hole, nothing fancy, just with my phone. Um, but after a while, I had a lot of courses, and I realized, wow, I've got quite a library of courses. So, for what they are, they're not the most professional videos, and hopefully, I'm going to get better with that. I got a GoPro coming, and so I'm hoping to get a little bit better with that. But I've got like 45 ish courses on there right now. A lot of courses around here, like Branson. I've got Mountaintop that I've played twice now. I've got two videos on that. I made a connection with this. You'll see him on the second video. His name's Cosmo, really. But I don't know, he's probably in his early 20s. I don't know why he wants to play golf with me, but he does. And he works for that Johnny Morris, whatever you want to call it, that mega of everything he's got down there. But because of that, he gets half price, and so we can play mountaintop, the two of us, for $100. So, otherwise it'd be me for $100, and that's one of the cheaper courses. But Branson Hills down there, and it's expensive too, but it's nice. Ledgestone, I said it's expensive, but it's nice. All the Branson courses are expensive, but they're nice. Now Heritage Hills down, or yeah, Holiday Hills. It's not super expensive, and it's nice. It's kind of in Forsyth on the other side of the river. But Springfield area courses, I've got Horton and River Cut and Island Green and Green Hills and Marshfield, Whispering Oaks, and a lot of the courses around here I've got on there. Dream Valley, Hidden Valley, all those. Joplin's a good place to go. People are really friendly over there. I like going over there and playing golf. They've got some really nice courses at Schiffendecker. I never can say it right. Schiffendecker, that's not right, but that's a super nice course, and it's like under 40 with a cart. It might have been a senior rate, but either way, it's inexpensive and super nice. And then over in Carl Junction, which is a little north of Joplin, is Briarbrook. I would highly recommend Briarbrook. Nice course. Lake of the Ozarks, nice. Bella Vista in northern Arkansas, right along the border there. And then go down into Bentonville and the Fayetteville area. A lot of courses down in there. I've got some of those. Bella Vista is kind of a cool area. It's like a retirement area. They've got these complexes. They're like 27 hole complexes, an 18 and a 9. There's four of them kind of scattered around down there, and not a very big area. I played one of them, the Burksdale, I think, if I remember right. I played the 18 and I played the 9 twice on a different visit, but they're super nice, really nice. I want to go back down there again. Another one down by Eureka Springs is Holiday Island. Really sits up on the mountain in the Bostons. Really good views. Pea Ridge, nice little course. Bought a club from a guy down there and played the course while I was there. Want to go back. Really nice. Here's one of the cool things I found though along my journeys of all these courses was these little municipal 9 holes, community 9 holes. In these rural areas, they may not be able to support 18 holes, but they can support 9, and some of them do. And some of them don't, but some of them do a really good job. Either their community is really invested, or their city puts a lot of money into it. A couple around here, I'd recommend it be Lockwood, really nice place, and Sarcoxy on the way to Joplin, about an hour from here, right on the interstate. Super nice. Another one up in eastern Missouri is Salem. Beautiful country up there too. It's up by Lesterville where I taught. It is super nice. Played some tournaments up there with my Lesterville boys, Andy and Wade, and Gabe, I think, one time even. And then I want to give a shout out to Josh Long over at Viburnum. Josh has come in there. I played that course when I first started playing a lot in late 23, when I came down there, and it was pretty bad. But Josh has turned it around. And I'm going to get an interview with you, Josh, in the future for this podcast because he can kind of show us, what it takes, to get a golf course up and running and looking fantastic. Greens are amazing. Um, and maybe it's a good lesson for some of us because, I notice even some of these, I'm in Springfield. I've got courses I can play. But even at Horton, a lot of people don't fix their divots. They don't take care of their greens. They don't replace stuff. It's a real shame. And so, if they knew kind of what went into it and had a little more respect for the course, um, maybe they would, and maybe Josh can give us some insights into some of that because I sure have some questions for him, um, and so we can do that on a future podcast. Uh, Another place I've gone, some 9 holes are over in Kansas, like Baxter Springs and Oswego and some places like that. You can go over and do downstream, do a little gambling, play a little golf, So that's a nice area over in there. I also, some of you know, I grew up in Galveston. I was a beach bum and proud of it. But sure didn't play any golf, that's for sure. But I do now, and I go down. I still have a lot of friends down there. Johnny O Valley takes real good care of me when I come down. And I go down there and play some amazing courses. Tour 18 was cool. We played it when I was down there this last time outside Houston. And there's a place outside of Dallas that I really like, Old Brickyard. But on the island, there's nothing quite like that kind of golf. Moody Gardens, nary a tree, some palm trees, a lot of wind, a lot of sand, a lot of water. I've got a friend, Jack Brown, I grew up with, and he's a member of the private course there, Galveston Country Club out on West End. And yeah, I've played some nice courses, and even Mountaintop that I played recently is pretty nice. But you know that one in Galveston's, I don't know. It's just hard to describe. It's an exceptional course, and they have an alligator on hole 17, which introduced himself to me, which was kind of funny. Not at the time, scared the fire out of me, but I wouldn't. I didn't know he was going to be sunbathing along 17. But that's another story for another podcast. But there's some nice courses, and I've got videos of those courses down in Texas. So, and I also want to talk a little bit on a future video about how you can do all this a little bit more affordably, because I got some little tricks that you can use to save some money. I want to kind of change gears a little bit and talk a little bit about something that I think is really cool, and that's volunteering for tournaments. Um, and even if you don't play golf, you just are a fan of golf, this is a great way to get to interact with golfers. And you can do it at any level. The Corn Ferry, which is kind of the AAA level for guys, they come here in Springfield. They do the price cutter. And I've worked it 3 years now. And I've worked myself up to where I do the walking scoring now, which I get to walk right along with the golfers and put in their scores electronically in a little handheld device. But I started out by doing just marshaling the hole and things like that. But Corn Ferry's a good place to start if you're around Springfield. The LPGA goes to Pinnacle in Bentonville, and they're always looking for volunteers. That's a great way to see the top lady golfers. I know the senior tour is in Little Rock. I was going to go this year, but I just didn't work out. But I'm going to go. And then I don't want to brag too much here. And But I went to St. Jude's last year in Memphis, and that's with the big boys. That's PGA, and that's down to 70. That's we're talking about the FedEx Cup. So I I can't even describe what that was like. I mean, I'd get there early in the morning. I could watch how they set up the holes and blow off the dew and It's just, I don't know. It's just something amazing about that. And then, my responsibilities, I had multiple responsibilities. I was a marshal at the tee box. You got to keep everybody quiet, when they're teeing off. So you got a little sign. Now there in Memphis, it's like a hush or something, Southern. But it was pretty cool. And then it's down, marshaled the hole itself, down around the green, and did some along the fairways even. The best thing I did though was we had this little area behind 13, hole 13, from there is a left green, 13th green, walking to 14th tee. There was a little area there where they had to kind of go down in elevation there in the grass, and it had some leaves, and it was a little unsettled, and a person had slipped the day before. So I had told the master there, the whole master, our chairman, I guess, chairperson, she was a lady, real nice, that maybe I should be there to kind of warn the golfers as they came down there to be careful. So I did that, and I mean, every one of them came by me, and I'd say, and they'd look at me in the eye and say, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." I mean, Scotty Scheffler looked me in the eye and said, "Thank you, sir." Pretty cool, So, I mean, you can do that. There's 1,600 volunteers at St. Jude's. 1,600. So they need you, and I can show you how to get there and show you how to get signed up and all that stuff. So, that's something we can talk about on a future podcast if you're interested. But it's an experience that second. Well, I don't. You always say that, right? But you can do a lot of different things. You can drive a cart. You can take water, things like that, to holes. Um, you can transport golfers sometimes, especially like with the pro am. If you get there on the Wednesday, you can do things like that and get to know them and talk with them, get autographs, whatever, or be a marshal at a hole like I was. Um, I couldn't walking score at the PGA. I mean, they didn't give me that level of expertise. I mean, but I hope in the future I'll get to. But really enjoyed it. Um, I just can't say enough about that. You know, with the walking scoring, which I do at the Corn Ferry. Yeah, I mean, you're right there. You get to hear every conversation and all that stuff. So it's pretty cool. So, but I would highly recommend volunteering for a tournament. Do one, see what you think. And if you're not in this area, guarantee you there's a tournament somewhere near you that you could do. So, all right, shift gears. Just another little tangent. Talk a little bit about golf equipment because I'm always curious about what people think about different, their drivers or their woods or hybrids, irons, wedges, putters, all the things that are in our bag. I hope you don't think less of me on this one, but I'm going to drop a bomb on you. I don't use a driver. I know I'm the only person that doesn't, but I did, and I blame it on hitting infield for so long. But I just sliced. The longer the shaft, the more the slice. You just couldn't seem to get it out. Um, and so I went to a 3 iron. And my first trip to Texas back last year, I guess, what was that, early 24, when I first started that challenge. I went down to Texas with that 3. It didn't work. Then I went to a driving 2, one of those really nice P970s, I think it was, DHY, and it was sweet. It popped, but really not real forgiving. So, but it worked pretty good for me. I mean, I kept it for quite a while, and then I went to a 3 hybrid, and let's see, here it is. Oh, went to a 3 hybrid. I hit this thing here. It's 18 degrees, and then I don't I don't prop it up, I just do it. I put it on a tee, and I hit it pretty well. I mean, I hit senior tees, so that helps. But, I know I need to go back to the driver, and so I'm always trying to, we played in a tournament this last weekend, and we played two golf courses on Friday. Wade and Andy came up, and Andy just kept at me about, you need to go to a driver. And so he's right, I do. And I value his opinion, especially when it comes to golf. Well, I value his opinion, period, but especially in golf. He's a golf coach, and so, you know, now he's got the opportunity to coach me. So I appreciate that. And so, but I want to go back to it. Now, my irons that I use they're Sim 2 Max, and I really like them. I love them. I went from an M1, which I like those. Um, but it was kind of funny. The loft on them's different, Like for instance, with my M1s, my nine, I'd hit about I don't know 125 maybe, you know. But with these Sim 2s, I mean, I'm lucky to keep it under 130, 135, 140 even sometimes if I hit it pretty good. So, and at first I thought, oh man, oh man, you're getting stronger. What were you doing? And then I looked at the lofts and realized that the lofts were different. So, but the funny thing about my lofts is it affects my wedges. With my M1s, I just had a 56 and a 60, but my approach with my Sim 2s is 48. So I went out and bought me a 52 to kind of fill that gap, and but kind of curious about like your wedges. Which one do you primarily chip with, or do you just depends? I used to chip with my 60 all the time, and I was always not getting any rollout, and I started going to the 56 a while back, and you can do more with that 56. It seems like, and you can get better rollout, and that's helped a lot. One of the things that you have to learn, whether you're as hard headed as me or not, you have to learn that chipping's critical, because if you can chip well, then you have shorter putts, right? So when you kind of look at it that way, then you show your chipping more respect. And I've been trying to show my chipping more respect. And but it took me a little while to kind of get used to my new irons, and I'm kind of still getting there. But I was kind of curious about you guys out there. Do you chip a lot with your 56 or even something less? I know, Andy, he's got a 54, 58. He don't even have a 56. So some of you may not even use a 56. So just kind of curious what you're doing there when it comes to your wedges. And another thing that I think is cool, and again, I keep quoting Andy on this, but he had a zero torque putter. I don't know if you've seen these, but the shaft is right in the middle of the putter. It's really cool. And it's, again, just like every putter designed since the dawn of man, is supposed to make you hit straight putts. But it looks kind of like, that shaft being in the center instead of offset. It seems like that kind of would make sense. So just kind of curious if any of you out there have seen the zero torque, have putted with the zero torque. What do you think? I personally, am wondering because, putting is so critical. I know that there's the square to square, I think it is, that Titleist offers. Or the Odyssey version of the zero torque, because that's a TaylorMade, if I believe right. But either way, I mean, they're the same kind of design, So just curious if any of you out there, I mean, putting is critical. Putting is absolutely critical. I think it's more mental, because and I want to let me give an example. You know, you have a bad putt, it's in your head. and then you have another bad putt, and then you're down a bad road, and then you're in a wormhole you can't get out of, and then your score just absolutely explodes, and you just get super frustrated. It's all in the mind. So if you can reduce your putting distance by chipping better, and then find a putter and get some confidence in your putting, obviously you can turn that part of your game into an asset. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I'm hoping to. But it definitely is a big mental part of your game. You know, I told you before that I hit a hybrid off of the box. But I also have a 3 and a 4 apex, and then I have a 5 Big Bertha that I like. That's got, I think, 26 degrees. That I can get up over maybe something with, you know. But I don't have any woods. I tried them initially when I first started playing, fairway woods, but I just have never gone back to them. But just kind of curious. You know, I like long irons too. You know, if I'm way out, sometimes I'll pull my 5 or 6 out instead of a hybrid. Like if I'm on a fairway and I'm, 200 out, say, I might pull my 5 out and try to, do something with it instead of a fairway wood. But, I know 7 woods. I watch a lot of shows, and 7 woods is so kind of a big thing right now. So, along with the mini driver, kind of curious about that. Um, but I don't know the difference between hybrids and woods as far as that goes, and I don't see myself going back to woods. It must be a personal thing. And I've got a friend that plays hybrid irons, so Gary plays hybrid irons. So and grips. I remember when I first started playing, I had all these different, a club here, club there, and one of them had a different grip. And then I thought, so I learned how to grip clubs, which is not very hard at all. And so, because of that, then I was able to put all the same grips on all my clubs. And then I felt like that was a big advantage for me. So, but I use jumbo grips, a little bigger. Even though I got kind of smaller hands, I like the jumbo bigger grip. And so, and putter grips are cool. I got a new putter grip. I don't know if you can see this, but it's called the wrist lock. I got that backwards maybe on. But it's got an indentation right here, where if you're up left hand upper putter like I am, then it's got an indentation there. See, where your hand can it's supposed to lock your wrist. And so, I've had it now probably 3 rounds, and I might be putting a little straighter. I still got to line it up and read greens, but I think I'm hitting it straighter. So that's kind of a third of the battle, right? Pace, read, and hitting it straight or whatever. I don't know. But I think grips might be something that I mean, I'd like to know what you think about it. As far as a grip that you like, that you use, whether on your putter, your irons, your wedges, whatever. And lastly, about your golf balls. I used to just play about anything that I could get my hands on. But again, Coach Myers, one of the things that he had told me was that, and as a science teacher, I completely understand this. Golf is full of variables. That's one of the reasons why it's such a frustrating and lovable game. There's so many variables that are involved. Why add another variable? And what I mean by that is, if you can control one thing in the golf game, then control it. And you can control the ball you use. You can use the same ball, it'll behave the same way. And so you can tailor your game to the ball. And so I think that's a good idea. Now, do you go out and buy, whatever, Pro Vs? Well, they're expensive. So here's my suggestion to you. This is what I did. I did 5 rounds of golf, and each round I used a different ball, and only used that ball. And then I kind of compared my scores and how I felt like I played and that type of stuff. and that kind of helped me realize that I didn't play as well with the softer ball, like some of those super softs that I kind of like, the Callaways. I actually play a little better with a harder ball, like the TPX. And I really like these true response. And so now that's kind of what I'm playing, and that's all I play. So, again, I don't know that that's helped my game, but at least I have controlled one of the variables. And just kind of curious what you think about that. Um, if you think that, I mean, we're all out here to lower scores, right? So if I can control a variable, and it may help me lower my score, then why not do that? Okay? And one of the last things I want to talk about is, because it's brought me so much joy, is playing in tournaments. Now, please don't hesitate. I remember last fall when I was encouraged to play in a tournament. I thought, there's no way. I mean, I'm not that good a golfer. I mean, that's for great golfers. But actually, it's not. Tournaments are, there's everybody out there. I mean, and that's okay, because it's really a community event. It's really cool. I can't wait to the next tournament. I mean, I really enjoy them. They're a very enjoyable event. Of course, you're going to play with a friend or friends. 2 person, 3 person, 4 person. So, you got your buds. But the people that you play with, you know, they're very supportive and encouraging, just like you are to them. So everybody's kind of supportive of each other, and the camaraderie is second to none. It's really nice. And I think the reason that, it's not so competitive, I mean, you're trying to do your best in your team, you know. But what they do at tournaments is, which I think is kind of cool in one way, and another way it's kind of a kick in the tail, but they make these things called flights. And if you're not familiar with tournaments, which I wasn't till fairly recently, flights are done so that to encourage everyone to play, because everyone has a chance to win. And what I mean by that, let me just give you an example. That might be the best way to illustrate it. Okay, like for instance, the tournament that we played in River Cut. And I'm going to add a third flight because it was only 2 flights, but some tournaments will have 3. But in in the River Cut tournament on Saturday, the championship flight, the winning team was on minus 16. Wow, really. Second place, I think, was minus 10. So, I mean, they blew everybody out. But that's another story. Now, A flight was set at minus 5, meaning that minus 5 won first place in A flight. Now, we were second place at minus 3. Okay? And now, let's say, for instance, they had a B flight that was at 2 over. Okay? Then here's the deal. The money they give first place for minus 16 is the same money they give first place for A flight at minus 5, as theoretically the same amount of money that they give for B flight, which might be 2 over, first place. Because what they do is they just take chunks of scores and put them in categories. Like if you had 30 teams, they might make 3 flights of 10, for example. So they try to distribute it fairly evenly, but you never know where the scores are going to fall. So, like for instance, you may come in at minus 2, but the team next to you might be minus 10, play better than you, but you actually win money and they don't. So, and you say, well, that ain't right. Well, the reason they do it again is to encourage people to play in tournaments. And that's what I'm saying to you. Okay? Get out there and play in these tournaments. It, you might even win. We won $125 Saturday. We only paid, I think, 90 to get in the tournament. So we made money. So, of course you're not always going to do that. But there's really no pressure, too. Here's the cool thing. You scramble. So, if you got three guys or three ladies, whatever, then, you got three opportunities for every shot, every putt. Right? So if you do a bad shot, then two other guys or two other people can pick you up. So there's a lot of, camaraderie building, you know, community building kind of stuff. And it's a great, it's just a great experience. And then you go back and they have like they always provide a lunch and you get to visit with the other teams and hear the scores. Sometimes they'll have a raffle and balls and clubs and different things like that. So some places like again, I'm gonna mess it up again. Holiday Hills in Branson, they do one every third Saturday, and they're like 70 or 80, I think, two-man scrambles. So, I'd very much encourage you to go out there and give it a shot. I think you'd really like it. Well, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about in episode one. Um, but I do want you to come back next week. And one of the things I want to do next week is I have in my garage, I built a indoor simulator and kind of want to show that to you and show you how you can build it if that's something that you would like to do. It just takes a portion of my garage. I can still get my car in there. So, um, so if you talk real sweet to your better half, then maybe you could do something like that, or do something similar to it in an area. Being able to take swings year round, assuming if it's inside, could be a big advantage for you. Keep your swing going and so on. So we can talk about that next episode. I also want to talk a little bit about some upcoming tournaments. I know there's three or four of them down the pike. Want to encourage you to play in them. Encourage somebody to maybe play with me. There's one coming up here at Horton Smith, golly, a couple weeks, and they're doing the back half. They're scrambling the front half, and the back half they're doing with 8-inch holes. Like the normal holes, what, 3 inches? These are like big holes, so you got a better chance of making them. So again, kind of a novelty. Some tournaments are fundraisers, and so they do a lot of things like that. Some aren't, a little bit, less frills. But one way or the other, they're always fun. So we'll talk a little bit about some of the upcoming tournaments and maybe some of the upcoming videos that I'm going to be able to provide. Um, I talked to my friend Cosmo, and we're hopefully going to be able to play Ozark National soon. And so I'll definitely get some videos of Ozark National for you. And I want to make some of the future. I got a GoPro coming, if I didn't mention that. And so I'm going to try to kind of make them a little bit more interactive and work a little bit more on how I do the video. The problem is it's hard to video and play. And it's hard to video when you're on a course with people right behind you. So, some of these YouTubers have their own courses. I don't have my own course. So we'll just have to kind of do it as we can. So, but join me next Tuesday at 9 p.m. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for supporting me. And I hope to see you again next Tuesday. Signing out, it's Golf Traveler with Denis Knight.